Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jared Curry with my co-host, the Dynasty Chef Steve. We are a proud partner of the Full-Time Fantasy Podcast Network on this Week 14. How you doing, Steve?
Doing great. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. Hey, guys, Jordan's out with doing some crazy stuff with work, so you got me and Steve this morning, and we are going to run over your Week 14 cast, so we're going to go with that real quick. All right, let's get right to it. Tonight's game, Cowboys Bears.
Should be
It's
an
an interesting one, right?
matchup. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. The Cowboys, man, they got to do something. Jason Garrett already looks like he's going to lose his job.
Yeah, I think he's out the door for sure. 100% on that.
I think he's already been informed. He just he's you got your job till the end of the season. That's it.
It is a good morning, Zach. Thanks for joining. We appreciate everybody popping in. Again, this is for our podcast, so we don't answer any questions. You're just gonna have to let us deal with it, and we're gonna run through the schedule and try to help you guys out through this morning. It's a big week in just the aspect of you're in the playoffs, you're not in the playoffs. Like me and Steve were talking offline. We've got in one of my leagues, if you're playing. You could still be playing for the manure championship or the toilet bowl or whatever you want to talk about, but we still pay the winner of that. So
yeah, you may be playing for the first pick.
You might be playing for the first pick in the draft. I mean, who knows? Which I guess in that aspect doesn't mean
because you're not in the playoffs don't mean you want to quit.
I mean,
I see people on Twitter talking about if you're not in the playoffs, don't be making waiver pickups and stuff like that. No, screw that. That is not how it works.
What if you're in a dynasty league? I mean,
exactly.
Dynasty league, you still want to play tough, right? So it's still in a big week, and
it's not the time to quit.
So, agreed, 100%. Like I said, okay. So first tonight we got Bears Cowboys. It's not a phenomenal matchup for the big players like you expect. Do I expect Roquan Smith to have the week he had last week? No, especially against that offensive line. They're still good offensive line. The Cowboys still have some more to play for. Believe it or not, I mean, the winner of that division could go to the playoffs still. So they still have something to play for.
They do, and I mean the players. I'm sure they still want it.
Especially with Philadelphia losing last week as well. This Bears Cowboys game is I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be one of those tough defensive battle games. I expect Khalil Mack to play well. I expect Roquan Smith to have a decent game. I mean, especially with DT not playing, you got to expect him to still play well. Kwiatkowski's played very well in Dan Trevathan's absence. So in that aspect, you have to see that. With the other guys, we're after looking at, do I expect Xavier Woods to step up? Do I expect, Jalen Smith to have another good game? Because Leighton Vander Esch is out. Yeah. So Lee has played really well in his absence, though, in LVE's absence. Like I said,
Leighton Vander Esch does, though.
Yeah, he does. When he's healthy, he's been a good linebacker. The biggest question is, will he stay that way? How deep does this linebacker core go is a real question. It's some teams have a really deep linebacking core. They have one of the top duos in the league when they're healthy. Leighton Vander Esch might be done. I mean, that's just the facts. So I guess we'll see where we're at with them. I think you still got to play your studs here. I think Roquan is a play. I still think Jalen Smith is – he's going to be a linebacker one. You got to play him. Dallas defensive line, who you got there?
I'd probably Robert Quinn.
Yeah, I still think Robert Quinn's a start. Trubisky's still
– oh, yeah. He's
Trubisky. So there's that. If you're gonna go down in flames.
Yep.
So I don't know. That's a tough one. The next one we're gonna talk about though, the Buccaneers and the Colts. This could be one of those either really tight games or something could blow up.
I think
You know,
gonna,
just like we saw
something's going to
last
blow
week.
up.
Well, the Colts, had a 17-17 game in the fourth quarter, and then end up getting waxed. Because mistakes. I mean, when mistakes happens, points are scored. So the Colts ended up losing,
Yeah.
and their defense played really good all game. But I mean, that's what happens, dude.
Oh man.
So, like I told you, um, I'm really considering playing Devin White this week against the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good matchup.
It's like a great matchup. Are you kidding me?
It really is. I mean, he's been on a tear the last 4 weeks.
I
So
think he's just going to continue that tear.
I'm with you. Darius Leonard is still Darius Leonard. You still got to play him every week.
Mm-hmm.
Walker's a pretty good play. Now they're going to pass a lot more. So somebody who I haven't said a whole lot is Roxon, the corner from the Colts. I expect he'll probably be guarding either Godwin or Evans. It just doesn't. We just don't know which one of those two is going to blow up. It's never both of them. I think we had one game where both Godwin and Evans had a big game. So, me personally, I have Evans in one of my groups, so I need him to go off.
Well, then it's not going to be him, right?
That's what's going to happen. He's not going to do anything. That's going to be the problem. And he hasn't played well the last couple weeks. So,
and I feel like I don't know what to do about that pair.
I'm with you. And that's another person we're talking about trying to keep their job is Jameis Winston. So, I would tell you I think he has to win a few. And the Colts are definitely in the conversations to make the playoffs in that division. I think they're against the wall against the Titans and the Texans.
I think the Titans are well. I don't know. That's tight, man. Texans or Titans. I don't think it's going to be the Colts.
And I'm with you. I just don't know if they're going to pull it off.
They looked good early, but then they just started falling off a cliff there late in the season.
Yeah, right now I think the Texans to lose. To be honest with you, I think they're gonna.
The Titans look really good on Tannehill.
The Titans have looked good the last couple of weeks. I'll agree with that.
Surprising.
I mean, nobody can stop Henry. It seems like he's been going for 100 yards every game last couple games. So
take Mariota out of there and put Tannehill in, and he's serviceable enough.
Yep. Next game we got Bills Ravens, and to be honest with you, this is gonna be one of the games of the week for me because the Bills have a lot to play for. The Ravens obviously have a lot to play for.
I want that. It's surprising, but I want that Bills defense to play really hard.
And I'll be honest with you, I think Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano are two must plays because the Ravens like to run the ball, so tackles are going to happen. So
they're going to be balling this. Yep.
I mean, it's late. We're talking. It's early December. This could be a snow game. I haven't checked the weather with the Bills Ravens, but the Ravens played really good in the rain last week, and I mean it was pretty nasty outside. They beat San Francisco. I would tell you the Ravens definitely have the leg up in this. They're the better team overall, I think. But hard to bet against the Bills because –
well, if Jordan were here, he'd be all over Josh Allen.
Oh, dude. But, I mean, that's the thing is Josh Allen, he's good for a touchdown or two a week. So he's fantasy football-wise, he's been good.
Probably in some unconventional manner, too. He'd probably be out there receiving it.
I mean,
some crazy touchdowns. Who was it that caught one this last week?
Oh, well, we got the kid from the Titans that nobody's even talked about. And then you had Vita Vea.
Vita Vea had one. I thought we had another quarterback that made a touchdown reception this last week too.
Well, I mean, in college, Jalen Hurts did. Does that count?
Oh, was it? That's crazy.
we talk about a lot of stuff. We don't bounce
It's
back
wild.
and forth. So,
Yep.
It's just one of those things, man. You don't know how this week's going to go,
Mhm.
right? And with the Bills and the Ravens, this is going to be one of those make or break weeks for the Bills. I hate to say that, but we're in week 14.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You got 3 weeks to win something. You got the New England Patriots who've lost 3 games now? 2 games.
2 games.
So they've lost 2 games, both against really good teams in the Texans and the Ravens. So do I still think they're the team to beat? To be honest with you, I'm not sure yet. The Ravens are as good as anybody. San Francisco is as good as anybody. The Patriots are the Patriots.
It's we're missing. They're missing pieces.
Yeah,
missing a lot of pieces.
Well, I think they're more missing offensively right now than
Exactly.
anything. Right? You know that they
Well,
don't know.
there are times when their defense kind of disappears. Last week they disappeared a little bit, and it might have been because they were sick. See them over on the sidelines. They looked like they were struggling.
Yeah, they were going through the flu too. So, we'll get to them in a little bit. With the Ravens, your must starts. Do you think that Judon has the game that he had a couple weeks ago, or is he going to disappear? Matt Judon's been pretty consistent, leading in tackles for the team lately. Patrick Onwasser disappeared. I mean,
I haven't trusted him all season.
He's had really good games.
He has, but
and he got injured, and then his snap counts went away, and he wasn't playing very much.
Exactly.
You want to talk about a team that is definitely going after a linebacker in the draft? It is the Baltimore Ravens, because they don't know what they have. They're not deep. They're not in a group where they expect to just blow up. So
exactly.
it's
hard to trust them.
And I wouldn't be very surprised if they went after the Oklahoma linebacker, Kenneth Murray, because they like drafting Oklahoma players, and the ones that they have are really solid. Tony Jefferson, Marquise Brown. They have 2 offensive linemen, right? And then they have Mark Andrews as the tight end. Well, all 5 of those would be starting if it wasn't for Jefferson getting injured. So, and I think you and me have talked about this. Kenneth Murray, we think, is a really, really good linebacker. We think that he's all over the ball everywhere. His closing speed's phenomenal. He's got great when he's got 2 hands on a guy, they're not getting away. He's a monster. So I could see him going to the Ravens. And obviously when we do our rookie thing in a couple weeks, then we'll get there. But as for the Bills, or talked about it, you got to start. I think you got to start both linebackers, Intraman Emmons, Matt Milano. It's a good matchup for them. I also really like Jordan Poyer in this. And to be honest with you, Ed Oliver has come on strong.
Oh, definitely.
So he's a guy that I'm looking at streaming this week. I mean, it's going to be depending on the matchups that you have, and if you're looking at the start. And
I don't think he'll have a tougher time against this offense, against Lamar Jackson.
So I'm more worried about if they can contain Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
So, and if they can do that, and they're pretty good at that. They're pretty good at containing the run. They're one of the best run defense in the league, especially in the red zone. So it really just depends on what their backside will do. So that's what I got on that one. Let's get to the next game. Lions and the Vikings. This is a big game. Whether or not Dalvin Cook's going to play. Sounds like he said he's good to go. He was limited practice yesterday. But I'll be honest with you, they need to win this game. They have to win the division. So I don't know really which Kirk Cousins you're going to get. So he's been really stout the last couple weeks, though.
Yeah. I mean, They almost made a comeback against the Seahawks.
Yep, and the Seahawks are, as to be honest with you, they're a team that is definitely. I mean, they're obviously going to the playoffs. They very easily right now. I think they're leading the division over San Francisco because San Francisco lost.
Yep.
So that win right there took Seattle to the top spot, the number 2 spot actually, and then moved them all the way to the 5th spot in one game because San Francisco lost to the Ravens. So could you imagine going into that game, you were the number 2 seed, and then now you're the number 5 seed?
Yep.
And you're one of the best teams in all of football. You know that it's funny because I'm in the position where I had a bye week in fantasy football, and now I don't have a bye week because I lost by 4 points.
The same thing happened to me. I mean, I didn't lose by 4 points, but
the thing is, we talked about this about me starting Hubbard. I was going to start Hubbard, and for some reason didn't click save. So because of that, I ended up losing. So it happens. That's that's football, bro. That's football.
Yeah.
I promised you last week nobody started Laquan Treadwell in the Vikings, and he got a touchdown. So there's that.
That's crazy.
But
nobody expected that.
And now I'm playing my buddy Ryan this week. So good luck. I hope you take second in our game. So there's that.
The first place loser.
And the thing is me and Tim's have had battles. Though I've been in this league for 2 years, and I think every time we've played, it's been tight. So
those are the best ones.
But the thing is, I have injury concerns. He has injury concerns. Nobody wants to play Tim's. I promise you, he has got a loaded lineup. And think about this. I had Danny Trevathan and Leighton Vander Esch both get hurt on me this year, which those are 2 guys I'm starting every week if I'm playing them. So now I'm kind of in a weird spot, obviously.
So who'd you pick up to replace him?
So at one time I picked up Nate Gary, but I have Corey Littleton, which obviously I'm going to start Corey Littleton. He can go off for 50 points.
Yeah.
I have Chandler Jones. I have who's going to be a starter. My biggest question is who I'm going to start between Marcus Golden, Mark Barron, and Cole Holcomb. So that's my tough one. I mean, I could start a defensive lineman in that aspect, but I don't think it's going to happen. Unless Everson Griffin plays, then I might play Everson Griffin over Cole Holcomb.
Yeah, I see. I'd probably pick
so we'll see.
Holcomb, but...
I mean, we'll get that to that. In the Vikings game, like I said, if Everson Griffin's playing, I'm probably going to play that, especially against the Lions. Trey Flowers played very well. The thing is the Vikings offensive line is strong enough where I'm not really streaming much players from the Lions. Jarrod Davis has played pretty well lately. Taven Wilson is probably a must start for me, depending on what's going on with Tracy Walker again. I mean, I would say he's got to be shut down for the year. We'll see what happens. If they're smart, that's what you do. That kid could be a star. And
if they're smart.
But it's Detroit, so.
Yeah. When have they ever been smart?
Well, they do have a great coach now. I really believe that. I really love their coach.
It's like every time somebody goes there, they start doing Lions things.
Yeah, well, is that really their front office? The biggest question.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's not the coaches making the decisions. It's probably the front office.
Yeah. So, in that aspect, Trey Flowers, I think you're still going to play him. Dino Hunter is a must start, no matter what here.
Yep.
I think that you're going to have to start Taven Wilson. I think that you're going to have to start Harrison on the opposite side. The biggest question is who do you start at linebacker with the Vikings? I think you got to play Kendricks. He's one of the league leaders in pass deflections in some leagues. A pass deflection is worth 4 or 5 points in some leagues. For us, I think it's 3 points in the IDP 1, 2, 3 leagues, which we will try to make your standard scoring. So there's that. Overall, not a phenomenal group to watch, but we'll see where we're at. The next game, we got to get through these. Redskins, Packers.
This should be
I'll be honest with you. Well, we said that. I really thought the Redskins could probably lose last week and against Carolina. Well, I mean, they got their coach fired, so the Redskins have 2 really good running backs in Adrian Pierce and Darius Geis. Okay. Their passing hasn't been phenomenal. You know, TJ McLaurin is a solid receiver, but he has been disappeared. I really want Haskins to play well there. They've had 3. They went through Robert Griffin, Kirk Cousins, and now they've been streaming quarterbacks since they let go of Kirk Cousins because they were franchise tagging him every year. I mean, his last franchise tag was like $32 million.
It's crazy.
How you franchise a guys not to keep him?
I know.
So, and then
the Redskin way.
Yeah. I think that this is the week the Packers finally wake up. Aaron Jones has a good week. I think
he needs to.
I think Aaron Rodgers has a good week again. Allen Lazard is kind of blown up, played really well for the Packers. Blake Martinez is still a must start in this game. The question is Matt Ioannidis, Cole Holcomb, Kerrigan disappeared, which means they had the other kid last week who we talked about on Monday's show. We haven't talked about all year, but because Ryan Kerrigan missed his first start and however many starts, it was crazy. And so I'll be honest with you, I'm not super into this game. It's a game that I'm kind of staying away from because I think it's going to be one of those runner guns, or it could be 24-17 game. So I think Packers-wise, you got to start whoever you're going to start because the Redskins are going to run the crap out of the ball. And Darius Geis, I can't believe he didn't get more carries. I mean, his first 2 carries at 63 yards last week. So
yeah, it's crazy.
I think he's going to get some more carries this week.
Hopefully. I'm playing on a couple leagues.
I mean, it's a tough matchup, to be honest with you. The Redskins front sevens, especially the front 4 is really solid. You got Payne there. Ioannidis is good. Kerrigan when he's healthy. Montez Sweat, who we don't talk a whole lot about, but he's been playing really well. I'm having a mental blank on somebody. The new kid that started last week. So tough game for me. Kind of what I'm staying away from. Texans, Broncos. I'll be honest with you. I think the Texans are going to blow the Broncos out of the water.
Yeah.
The Broncos did not look very great last week. I don't trust them. The Texans looked like world beaters last week. I mean, the first 3 quarters didn't look like the Texans had a prayer of losing. And then here come the Patriots.
I mean, yeah, they were.
That's what the Patriots do, though.
Yeah.
So it's at Houston. I am considering playing A.J. Johnson in this game for the Broncos. Derek Wolfe is on injured reserve now, so I don't know who. I mean,
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and Von Miller's been dealing with some injuries as well. I don't know what they're going to do. Justin Simmons, I expect to have a.
They're going to lose.
Justin Simmons is going to play well because, I don't think they're going to do anything. If they get by A.J. Johnson, then who else you got? So I think Justin Simmons has probably 5 or 6 tackles at the safety position, to be honest with you. The Texans, Justin Reed has disappeared, and then he reappears, and disappears, and reappears. I think it's a lot of his injuries. Also with the Texans, McKinney, Cunningham. I mean, these guys, I got to be starting, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see how you don't start them at this point. Like I said, I think the Texans are going to blow them out of the water. So
Think they're going to come out in their SWAT uniforms again?
no,
No,
I
it's
mean
not SWAT time.
they could come in wearing cupcakes,
Mhm.
because honestly, I think they're going to blow them out of the water.
Oh yeah, I mean I think this is too easy for them. I hope they don't come out overconfident, thinking, oh, we're just gonna trash these guys, and then just
I mean, it's still an NFL football game, so
Yeah.
any team can beat you. Ask
exactly.
the
I
Bengals,
mean,
right?
yeah, exactly. Or
I
ask
mean,
the Redskins.
yeah. So, two teams that weren't expected to win last week change games.
Yeah.
The next game I'm actually really excited about, and I would tell you I'd be a little different about it if it wasn't at the Saints. But the Saints need a good game. Demario Davis has been playing out of his mind. He is a must start every week.
Hell yeah.
I mean, he is an IDP Army guy. So
Mm-hmm.
he's definitely
Man.
one of the surprises of the year, if not the surprise of the year when it comes to guys that nobody was talking about to being one of these studs of the year. I mean, he without a doubt isn't. You got to talk to him about being top 6 defensive players of the year.
Definitely.
I mean, I would think so. San Francisco's in the same boat. Fred Warner playing out of his mind since Quan Alexander got hurt.
Yep.
Which makes you want
Absolutely.
to go, well, do we need Quan Alexander?
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
they don't.
I'll be honest, they might move on from Quan. Even as good as he is,
Mm-hmm.
you got to pay for him.
Yeah.
So I'm paying Fred Warner. I'm going to tell you that. So Greenlaw's played really well when he's played healthy.
Mm-hmm.
They're strong. San Francisco is strong. They know they're strong. They could one, win the division, or two, win the Super Bowl, or they're gonna win one game in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I think they get to the playoffs. I think they win the first game. The thing is, they might even play Dallas in the first game, or Philly, or who knows. We'll see what happens with them. I don't.
Dallas or Philly. Oh wow,
Who knows
that's
what's going to happen?
well,
The Saints, like we said, Demar Davis, Von Bell, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson played very well. A guy that Marshawn Lattimore has been doing. He's on. He's very tough. George Kittle looks like he might be back strong this week. So who guards him is the real question.
who can guard him?
Honestly, I'm either putting Marshawn Lattimore or Von Bell against him, but I think they're going to put Chauncey Gardner-Johnson against him.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens. I'm just not really sure with that group what they decide doing. It's good. I think that's going to be a fun game because the Saints can score if they want to. The 49ers have been susceptible against the run, and definitely against the pass. You saw what Kyler Murray did against them. The Cardinals should have beat them in San Francisco, to be honest with you. That's gonna be a fun one, to be honest. I think that's gonna be another close game. I think it just depends on which Saints team shows up. The one that can score or the one that doesn't score.
Mm-hmm.
Next game is 2 weeks ago, I told you that the Browns were going to throttle the Bengals. I'm not sure about that this week. The Browns went right back to not protecting their quarterback. I think Baker was sacked 5 times last week. He was hit like 10 in total. Looked like I thought he broke his wrist against, when throwing the football and hit Cam Hayward's helmet. I thought he broke his wrist. They asked him if he's going to play. And I really liked his comments that, well, Mama didn't raise no wuss. So he's playing. And Baker's tough. I've always said that he's tough. I love that demeanor about him. He talks it, but the dude, he doesn't step away from a game as much as he's been hit and injured and stuff like that. Yes, we are at it bright and early on a Thursday. Got to get you guys rolling this week. So this is going to be a fun one, to be honest with you, because I like Hubbard. I definitely like Hubbard in this matchup.
Yeah.
Because the Browns haven't blocked for Baker Mayfield all year. Why do I expect them to start doing it now?
Yeah.
The last two games they have not blocked well for him. However, Baker could torch the Bengals again. 2 years last year, I think he scored 35 points in fantasy against them. So I kind of expect the same thing. I like Nick Vigil in this game for the Bengals. I like Hubbard, like I said. You got to start Sean Williams and Jesse Bates because it's Sean Williams and Jesse Bates. Okay, Jermaine Pratt's been playing pretty well. Joe Schobert is an all-pro this year, guaranteed. He's going to get paid 100%. Joe Schobert is – right now it's got to be, in my honest opinion, it's between Jordan Hicks and Joe Schobert for Defensive Player of the Year. For fantasy-wise, it is those two. Those are the top two leading scorers. It's going to be really close. I think over the next 2 weeks we decide who's – if we're saying it ends this week, Jordan Hicks wins by a narrow margin. And I'm talking like points. However, I think if Joe Schobert's not in, who's more valuable to the team? Because if Joe Schobert's not in with Cleveland, they're not near as good. He's an all-pro. Guaranteed Jordan Hicks and Joe Schobert are both all-pros this year. Mark it down.
Definitely.
Joe Schobert's going to easily get paid this year, no matter what. And if Cleveland doesn't pay him, which they're ridiculous.
Somebody else will.
Oh, somebody's definitely paying him. And I'm going to tell you right now, if they let him go, Dallas will pay the Yank for him. Or the Patriots will.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Patriots are getting a little older.
Patriots love picking up players like that.
Yeah. I mean, he's a grinder. There's no way you let All-Pro Joe go. And that is literally his nickname right now, All-Pro Joe. So, again, on the Brown side, Thomas is a pretty good play. Sheldon Richardson's been a really good play lately. Louisville Vernon got hurt again. Chad Thomas got hurt his back last week. Louisville Vernon hurt his knee last week. Yeah. Sheldon Richardson. The Browns are riveted with injuries and suspensions, right? So,
yeah, you got to throw that one in there.
I think they're down right now to Cox, Sheldon Richardson, Sion Takitaki actually played a little defensive end last week, because they don't have anybody else. So really, it depends. And that's going to be a game Sunday when we're looking at start sits. That's again that I'm really going to look at the injuries and the actives, because that's again that I'm really interested in. Just the facts. It's going to be a fun one. I think if the Browns come to play like they're supposed to play, they're going to torch the Bengals. If they play like they're supposed to play. However, it's pretty evident that Odell Beckham Jr. wants out.
Yeah.
He even
big surprise.
I mean, he even told Jimmy Garoppolo that, hey, I would come here. That was weeks ago.
Man, I don't even know why anybody would want to play with him. It's just like you're just gonna, if things don't go well, you're just gonna want out.
I said years ago I thought Jarvis Landry was the better player. Even, I mean, if you look at it, Odell Beckham tells you how good Jarvis Landry is. Jarvis Landry he's gonna make the Pro Bowl. I think this late season push might move him into the Pro Bowl.
It's definitely good.
He's played very well the last 5 weeks, and it's pretty evident they're targeting him much more than Odell Beckham for sure. Panthers Falcons. This is another big game. Ron Rivera's been fired. It won't be long before he gets a job. Let's just be honest here.
Oh, for sure.
He's still a good coach. much better than – I mean, the Redskins got to look at him. But the Panthers have had so much talent on both sides of the football to lose last week to a team they shouldn't have lost to in the Redskins. They're done. I mean, they had to fire him. I mean, they should be going to the playoffs no problem, especially in that division. The Falcons, Dan Quinn's probably going to be fired.
You think he's next?
Yeah, I really do. It's either him or Jason Garrett.
I don't know.
Right? Which coach is going to be fired next?
Oh.
I think both of them are going to be fired by the end of the season, no matter what happens.
Mm-hmm. Well, you think another one gets fired this in mid-season? Or not mid-season, but before the end of the season?
Before the end of the season, I'll be honest, and I said this, 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I know that I posted on Twitter that Jason Garrett didn't belong finishing the game, let alone the season. I mean, it's evident to me. And then last week, I mean, you could see it in Jerry Jones' eyes. You know, his eyes were watering like he's done. And then he comes out, you know, and he's being the coach. I mean, he's being the GM and preaching up his guy, right? But the fact of the matter is that the Dallas Cowboys haven't won against a winning team all season. So why do I expect him to start now? You know what I mean? So I'll be honest with you. The only reason he hasn't been fired is because Jerry Jones is loyal.
Yeah.
Which sucks for him.
Yeah.
He needs to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? To where I'm going to tell you in the other aspect, I don't think the head coach of the Jets should be there.
No.
So
he's getting another year.
He's going to get another year no matter what because they still don't have a steady GM yet.
No.
Which is interesting. All right, back to the Falcons-Panthers game. New coach for the week. Panthers defense have been kind of off and on.
Mm-hmm.
They have so many good players, though. I mean, Brian Burns is a young stud. Shaq Thompson, he's getting a little older.
They should just keep doing what they're doing.
Thing is, the Panthers could easily have 3 or 4 more wins. They should have beat Green Bay. Mm-hmm. They should have beat Tampa Bay the second week of the season. They should have won last week against the Redskins. I mean, that's 3 wins right there that were 2 of them were goal line stands. So the Panthers could easily have 3 more wins, easily, and probably 4, which means they would be leading the division by a mile. And that's a division that has the Saints in it. So, but that's how that division is. It's crazy to me. This might be one of the first years where the team who won the division the year before wins it again, because it never happens. Usually I've seen so many years where the winner of that division will be last in that division or third in that division. Mm-hmm. But the Saints have moved so much farther in front of everybody else overall. The Falcons have so much talent. They really do. And I get they've had injuries, right? I mean, KZ got hurt again, and then they lost Neal. Mm-hmm. Devondre Campbell is still a must-start. Deion Jones has come on strong lately, and this is a good matchup for both linebackers. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually playing both of them. I like Luke Kuechly. I like Shaq Thompson in this game. Eric Reed is a must-start. Every week he's balling.
He's been a little down lately.
He still had a lot of tackles.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's been consistent, which is
consistent. Yeah, but I'll say consistent.
I would say he had a slow week last week, but before he had 3 sacks.
He's been more floor than ceiling.
Which me, I will take a high floor all day long because at least then I know what I'm getting. Mm-hmm. But he's had those ceiling games where he scored 30 points. So, but we could say the exact same thing about the next game in the Jets and Dolphins. Mm-hmm. Because Jamal Adams is probably the only player on both sides of the ball that I'm definitely starting.
Yeah.
Because, well, here's the thing. The Dolphins are scoring points.
Mm-hmm.
Love or hate them, I think they're averaging 24 points over the last like 6 or 7 games.
They're
If you're
averaging
doing
more than
that,
the
you would
Patriots.
expect to win ball games. But your defense can't stop anybody either.
Mm-mm.
But the Jets are trash.
Yeah, this is the trash bowl right here.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about the manure bowl? We got it right here, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
The Dolphins and the Jets are just not good. I mean, both of these teams were in the talk for first pick in the draft. Now it
Really,
looks like the Bengals have shored that up,
this could be a
even with a
high-scoring
win
game.
last week. This is a big week, right? Because both these guys have draft picks that they can get.
They'd just be rolling out the red carpet. Why don't you score? No, you go ahead and score next.
It could be one. I honestly, I think the Dolphins are. I think the Dolphins got to be the favorite in this game, and I hate to say that because I don't know which Jets team's going to show up.
Yeah.
Because the Jets have had games where, like, they beat Dallas. They beat the bricks off of Dallas.
Oh man, just destroyed them. Yeah, and then
They beat the bricks off of Dallas, and Dallas, like we talked about, they had this stat when leading in all of these categories.
mm-hmm.
The team is 90-1. The one loss was the Dallas Cowboys against the Jets because they won. They led in every stat: time of possession,
that's embarrassing.
turnovers, yards per carry, all
To
that
the
stuff, and they lost.
To the Jets. This
Yeah.
bad Jets team.
Yes, very bad. Let's get moving on. Chargers, Jaguars. I think we still got like 6 games left.
Okay.
Chargers, Jaguars. Derwin James back.
Mm-hmm.
He was quiet last week.
Sure, a little better this week. He's probably just coming back.
I mean, the mustache is back for the Jaguars. Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
I mean, which I think that I would have never brought Foles back and started him right away. Here's the facts.
Yeah.
They paid the guy, so they had to play him.
Yeah,
So,
but they didn't have
but
to
it cost
play
them. It guaranteed cost them a victory because they got throttled.
They didn't have to do anything.
Yeah. So, well, I think that's what the coach felt like. It was like, well, we paid this guy. The GM paid. He probably got some pressure. Like, hey, we paid this guy $30 million. Let's.
I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and lose then.
Yeah. So, Leonard Fournette's been kind of quiet, but I saw a stat the other day. Leonard Fournette is like second in receptions over the last like 5 weeks, and Gardner Minshew definitely targets him. So that could be a fun one. The Chargers, Hunter Henry disappeared. Is that just me, or I've just not seen him in the stat line very much? The Jaguars, pretty good matchup for that, I would think. This is not a game that I'm like super stoked about by any means. Adrian Phillips is back. Derwin James is back. Ingram's playing. Honestly, I still think the Jaguars lose this one by 7 to 10 points if the Chargers played like they're supposed to play. But I don't know which Chargers team's going to show up.
Probably
Again, their division isn't locked up either.
Nope.
I mean,
the Chargers have been off and on lately. I mean, they're going to play
well,
or is Rivers going to throw? Rivers going to throw 4 interceptions.
Yeah. Josh Allen, I think, is still a pretty good start this week.
Yeah.
Yannick Ngakoue's a pretty good start this week.
Definitely.
Joey Bosa's a good start this week.
He's always a good start.
Yeah, you always got to start Joey Bosa.
Mm-hmm. I always get you the points, but you're definitely going to start
him. That's how I feel about that one. I'm pretty excited about talking on that one come Sunday on our live show. So, Chiefs Patriots. Do we expect the Chiefs Patriots game from last year, or expect? I mean, do we talk early season Chiefs Patriots?
Yeah,
or playoff Patriots?
Yeah, exactly. We should differentiate on that one because there were 2 games.
2 totally different games at that.
Mm-hmm. The Patriots got blown out early season, then it was a completely different game in the playoffs.
Russ, I'm going to answer this question Sunday. So Bring it to me Sunday. I will take care of you. We got to get through these next 6 games in the next 15 minutes. Good question, though. I think you know which way I'm leaning. But
I don't know. Patriots are having a hard time moving the ball.
The Patriots are having a hard time moving the ball, but they've played good defenses.
They have. And
the fact of the matter is the Chiefs have been bottom third the last 3 years, which is ridiculous because they were top 5 for a long run there, especially in the Andy Reid coach team. How is his defense bad all of a sudden the last 2-3 years?
The Chiefs haven't been running the ball so well.
Let's be real. Nobody wants to play in Foxborough. Mm-mm. Nobody.
Even Mahomes has been down a little bit lately.
Yes and no. They haven't been completely healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I think, does Stephon Gilmore guard Tyreek Hill? Because honestly, as good as Gilmore is, he ain't fast enough to stay with Tyreek Hill. Which means I expect one of the safeties who are fast enough to go with him. I think they just try to keep him shallow, and they're going to lay over, one of the twins over top of him. That's what's going to happen in that game. I just see that happening. I just expect them to try to contain Tyreek Hill. We'll see what happens. I do like a lot of plays here for the Patriots. I like Kyle Van Noy. Jamie Collins has been kind of really, really quiet lately. Don't know what's going on there. I think Juan Thornhill has played very well and has not got up much love as much as we talk about Tyrann Mathieu. Juan Thornhill's played maybe better than he has this whole year, and he's the rookie. He's been quiet, on the major stat line fantasy-wise, but he's been very well. We'll see what happens there. Russ, I think you knew I was going to lean towards purchase, but I'm glad you called me. The Chiefs side, dude, I'll be honest with you. There ain't a player I'm streaming on that defense. I don't trust a single one of them. Okay, let's just get that off our chest right now. All right. I'll be honest with you. I think it depends of which game that's going to be. Is the Patriots Chiefs in the playoffs or Patriots Chiefs during the season? Because one scored 40 to something points, the other one went to overtime in a close game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a fun one. I think it's still Pat Mahomes and still Tom Brady. I'm actually hoping for a shootout just because that would be fun to me.
It would be nice.
And I think we might get it. Mm-hmm. I think James White is a must-start if you're an offensive player, by the way.
Yeah, probably.
A must-start because the Chiefs aren't going to be able to stop that run. Yeah, I got another thing. Did you know Jarkandrick West got picked up again by the Kansas City Chiefs?
He knows their system well.
Back on the team.
Mm-hmm. He was just waiting. He was just waiting. He's like, they'll get me again. They need running backs.
We are talking about a game here that I'm really excited about defensively. Titans, Raiders.
Yeah.
There's so many players I'm streaming. Okay, Max Crosby, Eric Harris, Logan Ryan, Kevin Beard. Jalen Brown looks like got injured again, so Rashaan Evans. These are a lot of players, right? I'm talking 5 guys. I'm legit starting. If I have any of these 5 players, I'm starting them. I'll be honest with you, because I expect Eric Harris to, as good as Ryan Tannehill is protecting the ball, Eric Harris could get to him. He has a nose for it. At a minimum, he's going to get 4 or 5 tackles. So Max Crosby's been a must-start lately.
Yep, definitely like Max Crosby.
The linebackers have been pretty solid in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a fun one. These 2 games right here, Titans, Raiders, good defensive game. Cardinals, Steelers, I don't know what you're going to get out of this one. Okay. To be honest with you, I really like the matchup offensively for Pittsburgh because for some reason, as good as the Cardinals, Buda Baker, Jordan Hicks, Jones have been, he's been the player. They've gotten a lot of points scored against them, but they're also been in every game that they've played. If it was at Pittsburgh, I would give it to Pittsburgh, but it's at the Cardinals, and I think they have a good chance of winning that game. And people say, "Oh, you look at the Cardinals." Yeah, but if you look at the Cardinals' record, it's not been good.
No,
but if you've actually watched them play, they should have beat San Francisco twice, right?
Mm-hmm.
The last game was honestly probably their worst game of the year, and they got torched by the Rams. I mean, absolutely torched. Which the thing is, you got Buda Baker guarding Cooper Kupp, and they're like, "Oh, well, let's just give it to Woods for 13 catches." So
let's see. And the Steelers have somehow managed to put together a winning record this season, but I mean, they're on their third string quarterback.
They are, but is he really their third string? He's probably their second string.
Yeah, he probably is.
You wanted to trust in Mason Rudolph, but the thing is it's not like they're weak in the receiver aspect. Juju's been hurt, so I'll give you that. But James Washington was a Biletnikoff Award winner in college.
Oh, man. Yeah, he's tearing it up.
He's the real deal.
But
they're on their third string running back, and I don't know if Connor's going to be back this week, but Benny Snell's obviously a good start. I mean, he's been a solid player.
They put together something. I don't know. This is a tough matchup because you got the Cardinals, who are obviously still rebuilding.
The Steelers took a chance.
Steelers are, they put together something. I don't know what the heck they're doing there, but they're winning with some backups and third stringers.
Yeah, I like it overall. Pretty solid group.
They've definitely got some depth.
They do. I mean, they're pretty stout. That's going to be a fun game to watch. And if it wasn't the fact that I'm trying to finish packing to go back home to see family in a week or two, I'd probably go to that game because it's only a 5-hour drive for me. So it'd be a fun one to watch. All right, last two games of the week. Seahawks-Rams. If you told me 2 weeks ago, the Seahawks were torched the Rams. Now the Rams looked phenomenal last week. They looked like the team I expected them to be all year long. And I think we all expected the Rams to be all year long. And the Seahawks have been world beaters. Seahawks are the number 2 seed right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I still don't trust the fact that they could win against the Rams because they've been a little inconsistent. And I love their linebacking core. KJ Wright, Bobby Wagner, beasts. Overall, they've got a pretty good, back six. When you're talking about their corners are pretty solid overall. Jadeveon Clowney seems like he's really figured it out at this point. He's played pretty well. On the other side, you got to love or hate it. You still got to stop Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
You still got to worry about the other defensive end. I can't think of his name right now. Kid from Florida. This could be an interesting game, right? Because both offenses can score. Both defenses can be solid. Corey Littleton is a must start every week. Taylor Rapp has been a pretty good start. And I would tell you it's a good start against the Seahawks because they like to stretch the ball. I don't know which running back you're going to get out of the Seahawks, either Rashad Penny or Chris Carson. They're going to roll through both of them. The Rams seem like they play better when they give Todd Gurley the ball.
Yeah.
And I think that they realize that they're in a playoff push. And the thing is I would tell you that I think the Rams have to win out to even sniff the playoffs. And I don't think they're going to do that.
Mm-mm.
So,
yeah, that Rams team is
the third best team in the division.
Confusing.
But if you, I promise you this: beginning of the year, if I'd have told you the Rams were the third best team in the division, you'd have told me I was joking. You're crazy.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
But they're third best team in the division, and by a long mile right now, because San Francisco's playing great. The Seahawks are playing great.
Oh, yeah, the whole division is looking good.
Yeah, and the Cardinals could beat a lot of teams too. So
It's
overall, it's probably the toughest division in football right now.
right now, yeah, I would say.
And honestly, it has been that way for a couple of years. If really you really want to think about it, they've been really tough. Well, it's either them or
I wouldn't
the
say
Raiders,
I would
Chiefs, Broncos have
say
always.
50% of it's been pretty tough, but the Rams and the Seahawks have been pretty good the last couple of years. But I don't know about the Cardinals and San
Yeah, but I
Francisco.
mean, San Francisco and Seattle have had some world beater games over the last 10 years. I mean, that's been a crazy rivalry. So it's even better that they've been having to play rivalry games lately,
Yeah,
especially this year, because right now it looks like the Seahawks are going to win the division, and they probably have the easiest matchups of the two.
all right. How about that last game?
All right, last game we got Giants Eagles.
And you got
The
Eli playing.
reemergence of Eli Manning
Yep.
and the most overrated quarterback being paid this year in Carson Wentz. I truly believe
What?
that.
No way.
Bro, are you kidding me? And you know that I have not been. Let's talk about players that we have paid and haven't performed.
Jared Goff.
Say what?
I said Jared Goff.
Jared Goff, Nick Foles, Blake Bortles, Carson Wentz. I mean, why did we pay Carson Wentz? He hasn't won a playoff game.
Because he did well in the regular season. I don't know. I'm just.
He has a really good coach, and he's an average quarterback. I'll give. He might be a little bit above average right now, but I wouldn't have paid him the way I'm paying him. I'm worried. I'm really eerie in that game. The Eagles defense played really good for like 3 or 4 weeks, and they got throttled last week. The Giants, with Peppers out, I don't trust them at all. I like Antoine Bethea and maybe one of their linebackers.
Maybe.
I just don't know. I love their their lead linebacker. 3 years with the Rams.
Is he holding the gun to your back there?
Yeah,
maybe one of their linebackers. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I just don't trust.
Like me.
The thing is this is a big game for the Eagles. The Eagles need to win this game.
Yeah.
Because by losing last week, they might have given up the division against. I mean, I'll be honest with you, this might be the worst division in football right now.
Might be. No, I don't think there's a might there.
I mean,
I think it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
come on, man.
Tell me this.
A 6-6 Dallas team is in the lead?
Yeah, but I mean, tell me this: can the Eagles and Dallas beat the Bucks, Panthers, and Falcons?
Maybe the Falcons.
I think that. I mean, we're talking about 2 teams who I expect to be league leaders, and I'm not. I can't even tell you who's going to win the division.
Yeah, I don't think they.
That's ridiculous. So, like you said, a 6-6 Dallas Cowboys. They can make the playoffs. I'm telling you this: they make the playoffs. You think they keep Garrett? Say they go to the playoffs, going.
They would have to go to the championship game. They would have to go. Yeah, they'd have to go 9-7 and either make the championship game or the Super Bowl at the very minimum.
I don't think if they make the playoffs on a 9-7 team, I mean, they might even do it as an 8-8 team. I think they still lose in the first round, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, the only way Garrett would keep his job at this point is if they made the NFC Championship game.
That'd be a
At the
heck of a
very
run.
least. And that's like you get one more season.
It'd be a heck of a run.
Uh-huh.
All
I
right.
mean, it'd be just like the Giants run. I mean, almost. They'd have to go on to win the Super Bowl. But
Yeah, but the Giants were competitive all year that year. So,
they were.
all right, guy. I mean, it's been an hour, and I appreciate. I know it's crazy how you have to get through all these games in an hour, but you know, guys, we just talk about certain players we like in each game. Like we said, I like Burgess over Tranquil overall. Just telling you now, Russell.
You said you were going to answer Sunday.
I mean, I'm with
Uh,
It's because he posted something.
mhm.
Don't
No, I was going to say
Tranquil
Burgess too.
scabs. I don't either. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys. So that is it for us. We will be on next week. Again, we're a proud part of the Full Time Fantasy Podcast Network. Happy to be there. Happy to be a part of this. And I promise you guys we'll have all, three of us popping again. Jordan has a lot of stuff going on with work. So we got other jobs too, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we appreciate it. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, let's go, let's go, let's go.